today I'm gonna go through my best books of the year. So this year I have read 150 books. You may be thinking, that's a lot. I did lose my job this year, so that is an explanation to you why I read so much. Also, I read a lot of books at once, so that also makes me read a lot. So I read 150, and these are the best. These are the top 25. And so today, oh, you can see on my CDs here. Oh, my shelves have been cleared because I took my 5 stars off of it. But today I'm gonna go through 3 categories. So the first category is 5-star romances. The second category is 4-star books that I really enjoyed, that are close to being 5-star but not quite, and then 5 stars. So 3 categories today, so let's just hop right into it. They just took off my first book off of Libby. So I'm going to go to Goodreads. That's crazy. Okay, the first romance book that I gave 5 stars is called The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert. Now, I've read all of her Brown Sisters series, maybe last year and the year before, loved them. So she's just amazing at writing romance. The Roommate Risk description says, Jasmine Allen believes in bad luck, great wine, and the seductive power of a stiletto heel. What she doesn't believe in is love. Her life is perfect without all that romance rubbish, until a plumbing disaster screws everything up and leaves Jazz homeless. Luckily, she has someone to turn to, her best friend Raoul. Now, I don't love friends to lovers, because a lot of times it's it's obvious you should be together. It's just why aren't you guys together? And a lot of times they're already acting like they're together in a lot of the cases. But I really enjoyed this for someone who's picky with friends to lovers and doesn't find it the most interesting. But this was so good. The connection was amazing between the 2 characters, and they had trauma. They had a lot of depth. They had emotional depth. We actually have a male main character who has emotions, which is rare. So yeah, it was just very excellently written. I think it's a pretty short book too. So if you're looking for a spicy yet it has that emotional depth short romance book, it's for you. I had to give it 5 stars because there was nothing wrong with it. Just absolutely loved it. So the next book is a complete shock. It is yeah, probably least likely 5-star on this list, and it is Gloves Off by Stephanie Archer. Now, this is book 4 in the Vancouver Storm series. I think that's what the series is called. And yes, I skipped straight to book 4. I didn't know it was the 4th book. But I heard not great things about the first book, so I was like, let me avoid that. And I don't know how I just randomly picked up book 4, but so glad I did. Because it was 5 stars. It's insane. I've never given a hockey romance 5 stars, but this is just so excellently done. I love the characters. Of course, I'm blanking on their names right now. It's Alexei and Georgia. Wow. Okay. So we have Georgia and Alexei. It's a bit of enemies to marriage of convenience. So Georgia needs to be married so that she can get access to her inheritance, so that she can fund this project. I won't tell you about it because just read the book, so you can learn that for yourself. But she is the medic for the hockey team, hence the gloves off. And Alexei is one of the hockey players who just hates her. It's kind of he just has a bad impression of her. They haven't had any in-depth discussions or anything, but just by like the little bits he knows about her, like he just come to the conclusion that he just doesn't like her. So it's enemies to Marriage of Convenience. I think Alexei's like visa is about to run out, and yeah, so they put together a Marriage of Convenience. It's such good like sort of like enemies with benefits sort of tension at the beginning, which I love, like when I'll get to Twisted Hate. But it was just so good how the relationship developed, and I loved the characters, and it's just always great when like the characters' passions shine. Like there's some hockey romances where there isn't hockey in it. And Georgia, she's also a soccer player, so we saw her interest in soccer. And she also loves like Vampire Diaries, and we got to like see references in the book that weren't cringy, because you could tell like the character actually liked these topics, and it's not like the author is trying to pander to the audience. And it was just so fun. Like for once I'm reading about like cultural references in a romance and not like cringing out. So this is just thoroughly good. The romance was so good, and I don't know. This is the most unexpected 5-star. So the next book is I didn't stack these very well. It's Call Me By Your Name. Now, this is not a romance book, but like when you read it, it is so like overwhelmingly about love that I just cannot put it. I cannot take it out the romance category. Like just every page of this is about love. So I just had to put it in romance books. I know it's not a romance book, and I know there's like controversy with these actors, so I won't speak on that today, but the book itself it's like a age gap romance, if you will. So yeah, there is an age gap with Elio's the younger boy and Oliver is older. They do fall in love. But yeah, if you're uncomfortable with age gap, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm uncomfortable with age gap, but it was fine for me. This book is just utterly gorgeous. Like, I annotated it. You can't really see, but just every line is gorgeous. Like page 59, I was in heaven. That he hadn't forgotten our conversation about Silam gave me a shot of tonic I hadn't experienced in many, many days. It spilled over everything I touched. Just a word, a gaze, and I was in heaven. Like just every page, like I can just randomly open it to any page and there's gorgeous writing. I just can't really get into it. But if you're the type to just like have a lot of crushes or just have really powerful crushes, you'll relate to just being consumed by how much you like someone and are attracted to them. So yeah, it's just absolutely gorgeous. A short little book. So yeah, I have to move on to the next book. This is, I mean, every page has beautiful writing. And yeah, it was really great that I annotated this. Okay, I gotta move quick. Gosh, it's gonna be a long video. Next book we have a very different vibe, Twisted Hate. Now this is one of the least popular books in Anna Huang's Twisted series, but this is about Josh and it just says the beautiful redhead at the top and Jules, and they are enemies with benefits. So Josh thinks that Jules is a bad influence on his sister, and for that reason he hates her. And I think I think she just kind of hates him back as a reaction to that. But they realize they're very attracted to each other and they form a sort of enemies with benefits situation. But what makes this a 5-star is that, like, yes, enemies with benefits was like very hot and everything, but they are both in the medical field, so they had something and they had a common interest. And so they were in the same workplace. So, well, okay, so Jules, she's studying to be a lawyer, but she works in the same medical center that Josh works at, or like one of them, they either volunteer or work at the same center. So that's like, they have like a common interest, they have a shared workplace, which I really enjoy reading about. So yeah, if you don't like kind of toxic, you know, energy, then this is not for you. But honestly, I found the Twisted series to be slightly dark, which I feel like people don't really say. So if you've never read dark romance before, kind of like be aware that the series is a little bit dark. But yeah, this is just toxic. So anyway, all right, I have to move on. But I thoroughly enjoyed this and love the characters. Okay. Next book is a book that I just bought. So we're gonna open it up. I bought this off Pango and thankfully it's in good condition. So that's great. We love that. Now this is How to End a Love Story by Yilin Kwang. And I feel like I'm gonna say this a lot in the video, but this is a book that's highly specific to me. It's another enemies with benefits with a workplace, a workplace romance. You can see at the end. I don't know why I like enemies with benefits so much, but I don't know. I just absolutely love this book. But it's not for everyone. It's about Helen and Grant. And so the reason why people don't love this book is because Grant accidentally hits Helen's sister with his car and kills her. But in this book, Helen's sister was suicidal, so she actually kind of threw herself in front of Grant's car. So that's a thing that a lot of people can't get past. And a major conflict in this book. So at the beginning of this book, we know that Grant's car hit Helen's sister. She died. Helen's family hates Grant naturally because, you know, he played a hand in her death, kind of. But this book mostly frames it as Helen's sister took her own life. So yeah, it's a rough start. But Helen is surprised to see that one of the people on the team that is making an adaptation of her, I think, book series is Grant. So surprised, they're working together all of a sudden. And again, they have this, like, they've known each other for so long. They have like this hatred between them and their families, but they're still attracted to each other. So we have like workplace to navigate. We have like, I hate you, like hatred to navigate, but I'm still attracted to you. And it has like one of my favorite micro tropes where he begs on his knees. And it's just like, this book, it's just so good, but it's like specifically for me. So yeah, I just don't think a lot of people will, you know, love this as much as I did, but I just loved it. Oh gosh. So yeah, if you like enemies with benefits and like, I don't know, just more like depth to their connection and more, you know, hurdles in their way, I think you'll love it. And these two are not everyone's cup of tea. So the last romance this is called Fan Service by Rosie Danan. And I should probably, this is the Afterlight. This is the Afterlight special edition. So I'll probably put this book away because it's not gonna help you find it in the bookstore. But yeah, it has like really cool art on it. We have a female main character with tattoos, which like we never see in romance. So I'm a big Rosie Danan fan. I've read The Roommate, The Intimacy Experiment, and her other book, Do Your Worst. So So the only book I haven't read by her is like a Christmas book. So I'm kind of nice. I've read all her books. Huge fan of Rosie Danan. And I absolutely love this. This is my favorite by her. So this is a paranormal werewolf romance. We have Devin, who is the star of a show. Just think of Teen Wolf. And we have Alex, who is his super fan. It starts off with a bad first meeting at this convention, and from then on she hates him. But later in life, Devin needs Alex's help, his biggest superfan, because he has turned into a werewolf that he plays on his TV show. So this book is absolutely amazing. Like, Rosie Danan, so good at romance, so good at making a connection, so good at making tension. The spice was amazing. The paranormal elements were amazing for her not being, you know, paranormal isn't her main, you know, subgenre. So yeah, she just knocked it out of the park. If you love Teen Wolf, you'll absolutely love this book. All right, next category, we're gonna go into the 4-star books. The next book is Bandit Queens by Payani Shroff. And this book takes place in India. And I have to start off by saying I had to give it 4 stars because I couldn't understand the language and the cultural elements in some parts. For that alone, I had to take up a star. Like, I hate to say that, but I just couldn't understand some elements. But that aside, I absolutely love this book. So Bandit Queens is about a group of women that come together and they have an issue. Their husbands are basically terrible and they're abusing them. So this one, our main character, Geeta, her husband disappears and everyone in town thinks that she killed him. So she has a reputation of being a husband killer. So these women who are abused are coming to her for help, and she helps them take care of their husbands that are abusing them. So yeah, it is a little dark. Like, I don't think there's too much abuse on page, so don't be worried like, oh, you know, it's not gonna be too hard to read. But it finds a way to have humor, to have heart, in the light of, you know, abuse and this horrible patriarchal system. But yeah, I absolutely love this book. Like, yes, violence is wrong, but this is one of those books where you read it and then you get so mad at these abusive men, and like, you will see that these women are between a rock and a hard place. But it's just cool how these women found like a community with each other when they're going through this hard time. But this book is just genius and I absolutely loved it. So the next book, looking down at my notes, is Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. This book is really, really short, so if you're looking for a short book, there you go. The description says, 2 young black people meet at a pub in southeast London. Both are black British, both won scholarships to private schools where they struggled to belong. Both are now artists. He's a photographer and she a dancer, trying to make their mark in a city that by turns celebrates and rejects them. Tentatively, tenderly, they fall in love. But 2 people who seem destined to to be together can still be torn apart by fear and violence. So, I unfortunately had to give this 4 stars, kind of for the same reason as, or, you know, 4.75. For the same reason as Bandit Queens. They had cultural references to shows, music, maybe books that I just didn't know. So because I didn't know the references, I was kind of missing just a very small part of understanding this book fully. But what I did understand was the black experience of being like one of the only black kids at a private school And so I super could relate to this and, you know, understood it so deeply, how it feels to not fit in white spaces. And so yeah, this was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I just was struggling with the references that I didn't know, but this is also written in a prose style. It's written in second person, if I remember, so just know that going in. But yeah, this is absolutely beautiful book about love, and if you're a Black person, you will definitely like see yourself in these characters. Okay, so the next book is different genre. Once Upon a Heart. Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. It's my first Stephanie Garber. You don't have to read Caraval at all. I don't know who like who is saying you have to read Caraval first. Like, you really don't have to. Like, not reading Caraval, like, that doesn't give you any vital information you need to understand. I don't know why people are saying that. You absolutely don't need to read Caraval. So this is a trilogy. Oh yeah, I guess I did read the whole series this year, which is very unlike me. I'm not really a series person. But this book just transports you to a different world. The main character is Evangeline. So it starts out, the love of her life will marry another. Desperate to stop the wedding and heal her wounded heart, she strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. And so, I mean, it's not too shocking that she finds a romance with the Prince of Hearts, but a lot happens along the way. It's a twisting, turning fairy tale adventure. Really loved it. I wish that the main character had more agency. It's kind of just the Prince of Hearts. It's like kind of dictating everything and manipulating her. So for that reason, I couldn't give it 5 stars, but absolutely loved these books, and I was transported to a different world. So the next book we're going to talk about is a book that I cannot believe more people aren't talking about, which is Forbidden Alchemy. This book is amazing. Like, this is one of the best written. I mean, I'm trying to think of what romanticises I've read. I mean, this is like top 3 romanticises I've read this year. I only liked like 3 romanticises this year. It was awful this year for romanticy. This is so excellently written. Stacey McEwen, she knows what she's doing. She's born and raised in the Gold Coast, Australia. Here is the woman. Give her flowers. Like, why is this book not more popular? This is so amazing. So this is about Nina and Patrick. They're only 12 years old when they were whisked from their disenfranchised mining towns to dazzling Bellevue City to test for magical abilities. Nina's lifelong dream is to become an artisan, a powerful elemental mage who fulfills the city's grand ambitions, while Patrick wants to reunite with his family of craftsmen into the mines. So, don't read the dust jacket, because it's not a spoiler, but it does kind of spoil. That's all I'll say. I will say, we have Patrick and Nina. They meet, as they're 12, and after they initially meet, they take 2 very different life paths from each other. So I'll just leave that as the description. But this book is so amazing. Just the politics in the world and the characters and the romance is excellent. I didn't give this 5 stars because of the male lead, Patrick. He was a bit of a jerk, and he was a bit too controlling. Like, I like when the female lead and the male lead work together, but he was kind of domineering and controlling and a bit of a jerk. So for him alone is why I didn't give it 5 stars. But I'm gonna pick up the next book this coming year, 2026, and I hope I can get that like a full-on 5 stars. I hope Patrick changes his ways a little bit, But this book is absolutely amazing. Like, why are people not talking about this more? I just don't understand it. So the next book we have is The Serpent in the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. If you like vampires, you should absolutely pick this up. I couldn't give this a full 5-star because, I don't know. This is about vampires, and the female lead is about a human among them, and they find themselves in a Hunger Games style death trial situation. Death trial is not my favorite, so I didn't really love that aspect, so I couldn't really give it 5 stars. But absolutely amazing story, plot, characters. But I love Carissa Broadbent's writing, and especially like how she developed the main relationship in this book. But the inside Death Target says, for humans or vampires, the rules of survival are the same. Never trust, never yield, and always guard your heart. The adopted human daughter of the night-born vampire king Oriya carved her place in a world designed to kill her. Her only chance to become something more than prey is entering the Kajari, a legendary tournament held by the goddess of death herself. So yeah, I'm not a big death trials person, but thoroughly enjoyed this. And I also big fan of vampire books, so I really like how Carissa Broadbent wrote the vampire element. So this is excellent, and I'm looking forward to the next book in the series. I read 6 Scorched Roses. That's also another 4-star, but I'm excited to keep going. So now we are at the section of the video where we're talking about the 5 stars. So we have Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. I absolutely love this book. If you are a music lover, especially, I think were they in the 90s? I think they were in the 90s. You like, especially that era of music and culture, you absolutely love it. It's a nice, short, quick book where we have our 2 leads who meet in college. They bond over their love of music, and the male lead, Joe, he wants to make music, whereas our female lead, Percy, she does not. But it's like not Austin and Natalie comparison, but he rocks and she writes. And so she helps him with songwriting while he goes off and becomes a musician. And so the book follows them as, he's touring, he's, as a musician, and she picks a different path for herself. Even when they go their separate ways, they still always find their way back to each other. And yeah, I just had an amazing time with this book. So, next book is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Hopefully we'll get a copy of this book soon, but I absolutely loved it. This is the only Fae book that I like because the Fae are not all supermodels, which is like, I just really don't like that. The Fae are like green and they're short and they have like pointy ears and they're all different. Some of them have tails, and it's actually whimsical creatures instead of just like supermodel humans. Like, that's not like what I think Fae should be. But there's lots of trickery. You never know who you can trust. But we follow Jude. Gosh, it's been a while since I read this. When she was little, she was taken away to live in the treacherous high court of Fairy. And I believe she's a human who's attending a fairy school. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so it's about her navigating like the Cruel Prince and his band of bullies, and just navigating that. We have a really nice enemies to lovers plot, and you don't get much lovers in the first book, but that's how it should be. These enemies lover series these days, they're enemies for 2 pages. It's like a 5-book series. They're enemies, like Forswing, for example. In my opinion, they weren't enemies at all. Like, they didn't like fight to the death, or like there was no attempt on each other's life. There are attempts on each other's lives in the Cruel Prince, and it's well paced out. Actually, enemies to lovers, not their enemies for page 1 of book 1 in a 5-book series. So anyway, excellently done. And I don't really want to read any other Fae books because I just like how these Fae are done like correctly. So now we have Gone Girl by, is it Gillian Flynn? Let me know. Is it Gillian? And so I haven't watched this movie. I know Ben Affleck's in it. I'm glad I didn't, because, you know, we want the book to be, you know, a surprise. This book is totally out of my wheelhouse. I try not to read thrillers, especially not books about like people like getting taken and missing and all that stuff, because I'm prone to like get like panic attacks, so I can't really read thriller and horror. Like, I'm interested in it. I'm like, oh, I wish I could read that without like panic attacks and stuff. But this one didn't give me panic attacks because this read like literary fiction to me. Like, I love like literary fictions about relationships, like especially like marriages just crumbling and completely destroying and falling up, getting destroyed and falling apart. Excellent example of that is Cleopatra and Frankenstein. It's like the opposite of a romance. It's about a relationship that is disintegrating, and that is what is happening here with Gone Girl. It really read like just a literary fiction about a marriage in trouble. Like, it's kind of hard. It's like hard to tell it was like a thriller, a mystery thriller, and just absolutely loved it. Like, I loved hearing the stories about how Gone Girl grew up. And what is her name? Amy. And I just loved reading about Amy, her childhood especially. So Amy's parents are authors, and they would write books, fiction, but about Amy's childhood. And for example, I can't remember the exact thing that it said in the book, but whatever they wanted Amy to do, they would write in the fiction book to like kind of influence her to do it. So example, they wanted her to join the tennis team, so they would write that in the book and then try to like influence her to do it in real life. So I just love that. Like, especially my favorite part was like reading about her childhood. And yeah, I just love that, like, sort of, I feel like it's kind of 2 books in one. Like, you know, reading about her childhood, like that's kind of like the literary fiction part of it, and then Amy becoming gone and just going missing is like a different part of it. So yeah, I absolutely loved like kind of like the humor that I found in it. But I don't know, if you're scared of this book, it kind of just read like a normal literary fiction to me. But yeah, I did love the like the thriller element too. But so this is like outside my comfort zone, but not at the same time. So yeah, totally not what I expected. Yeah, and really loved it. So I definitely recommend reading it before watching the movie. So anyway, that's Gone Girl. So next we have Silvercloak, which I think this would be my favorite romantasy of the year. I really did not really like, I think this and Silvercloak were the only romantasy releases that I liked this year. It was a tough year, real tough year. So Silvercloak is about, so in the world of Silvercloak, we have magic practitioners that they use wands and spells for magic, which is really cool. You don't see that a lot anymore. Our main character she's essentially part of the magic police, and she infiltrates this group of magic practitioners who are up to no good. So yeah, she just goes in like deep undercover and there might be a romance. Who knows? So yeah, absolutely loves this book. The writing's incredible. I love the magic. I love the plot. I love the characters. I love the romance. So this is definitely the best romantasy of 2025. So next we have The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, which I've talked about a little bit on this channel before. Now, as I always say, this book is not for everybody. It basically doesn't have a plot. So we have our main character. So we have Osric and Arianne. And Osric comes to Arianne kind of in a bit of a threatening way, and is like kind of demands that she sees him because she is a healer, so from the healer clan, and Osric is from the I think an assassin clan. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. So yeah, they're from different polar opposite types of clans. So we have the enemies going on, but Osric kind of strong arms her into checking Osric out because there's something going on with him. He is like losing his abilities, and he has like this degenerative disease. So, you know, he has no choice. He has to go to a healer and get help. So this whole book is travel. So Osric and Arianne travel someplace and she works on healing him. Then they travel to someplace and she works on healing him. So it's super, super repetitive. The whole book is just travel, heal, travel, heal, travel, heal. So it doesn't really have a plot. So you're kind of just vibing with the characters. But yeah, I was blown away by this book. Like, I love the humor. And if you were to tell me Bridget Knightley didn't go to medical school, I would be shocked because there's so much medical terms in here that I'm surprised she knows. Maybe she is a doctor. I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, it doesn't say that she's a medical professional, but like, I come from a medical family. It sounds like she went to medical school. But anyway, so basically there's nothing physical until practically the last page. That is how slow burn it is. That one, super slow burn, and Anathema, super slow burn. So they get the slow burn awards. So yeah, if you want real slow burn and not much plot, a lot of humor and banter, this is the book for you. But yeah, just know going in, that doesn't have much of a plot. The next book we have is Dracula. Now, I read this, finished it in November, finished it last month. Absolutely loved it. Because of recency bias, it feels like the best book of the year, but I don't know, it might be like Silver Cloak. It's so hard to tell what my best book of the year was, but I absolutely loved it. The title is misleading. It's called Dracula, but he's barely in the book. Like, this book has 7 or 8 main characters, and he's in it like less than all of them. So I don't know why it's called Dracula. Like, it's about a big cast of characters. It's like he's not the focus. He's like not the main character at all. So it's very ironic that it's called Dracula. So we have, this book is about Jonathan Harker, and he travels to Dracula's estate, I think to help him with a real estate deal because Jonathan is a solicitor or a lawyer. And Jonathan, he's like, you know, it's kind of odd. Something's a little off. This Dracula man, he's a bit strange and a bit scary. And he's like, I gotta get out of here. And then by the time he realizes that he needs to go, he can't escape. So I'll leave you with that. With the rest of the cast that I mentioned, we have other like mysterious things going down in different parts of town. In this book, we kind of just, we have all these different cases of different disturbances in town, and all the characters work together to figure out how Dracula is connected to all these different cases. And so this book has the best found family I've ever read. It makes everything else pale in comparison. This is what found family is, Dracula, which is ironic because, you know, the book is called Dracula, but it's not about him. It's about the cast of characters, and it's about this found family. who are working together to figure out what these vampires are up to, what's their plan, how to hunt them. And it's just so beautiful. Like, you'd think there wouldn't be, you know, much like warmth or like found family with like a book like this about like hunting vampires, but it really is. So this is so amazing. This is the best classic I've ever read. So highly recommend if you're on the fence. If you struggle with long classics like this, just read while playing the audiobook. That's what I did, so it's the best way to read this book. But yeah, I'm also sad. This is so weird. But this confirms I literally like all mainstream vampire media except Twilight. Like, I love everything else. I love Vampire Diaries. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love Dracula. I love this. But I don't like Twilight. That's the one vampire media I don't like. I'm like, I don't know what it is. But yeah, I'm like, I like everything but Twilight. I don't know why. So I'm like, here's another vampire media that I love. But yeah, anyway, Dracula is so amazingly written. I didn't know that classics could be written like that. It's written from a bunch of different points of view. We have different letters, we have diary entries, we have a mix of media in the book. And yeah, most, like, when I think of a classic, I just think of like one POV just droning on and on about his life for like 600 pages. And that's like what I imagine a classic to be. So when we have these different POVs and we're changing it up, it makes it super, super interesting. So this is the best classic I've ever read. So amazing. Might be my favorite of the year, with including my recency bias. So next we have Wake, which is a graphic novel. I filmed a reading graphic novels for a week video, but it is so long that I don't feel like I'm gonna edit that till next year. And like, I just don't feel like editing it. And I have other vlogs to edit also. But this is about the hidden history of slave revolts, of women-led slave revolts. This is about a historian who is looking into the lack of history and where she can find any information, and she's looking at gaps in the history of slavery about women-led slave revolts. So it's very important when you're studying history not to look where there is history, but to look where there isn't history. And as Black people, we are missing a lot of our history. So it's really important that authors create and historians create works like these. So I highly recommend this. If you're looking for a quick book you can read in one day to learn a little bit more about the history of slavery and the history of lack of history about Black people, highly recommend. So the next book we have is Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. This is the third or fourth? I think it's the third book. I think there might be 5 books in the Legendborn series, but the Legendborn series is about Bree, who witnesses a magical attack at this, I think she's at like Chapel Hill or something, some school in North Carolina. She is a high schooler, but she is doing a program where she can go attend classes at this college, at college level as a high schooler. And she gets thrust into the world of this secret magical Arthurian, what's the word? Arthurian society. And she has to figure out how to find her own way and make a name for herself by sort of infiltrating this secret magical society. So this book is excellently written. Honestly, love the first book. The second book I didn't love as much, but this book, Oathbound, sorry, I didn't love Bloodmark that much. It's still really good, like 4-star, but really loved Oathbound. So yeah, if you're on the fence about Legendborn, I mean, just give it a try. It's excellently written. I highly recommend the series as a whole. So the next, we have Serpent and Dove by Shelby McEwen. And so I'm going to have this count as Serpent and Dove and Blood and Honey, which is the sequel to this. This is a 3-book series about a witch falling in love with a witch hunter. And this is the best romance I've ever read I've ever read in a romantasy. So yeah, I'm trying to wrap this video up, so I won't go into too much depth, but amazing writing and the best romance and romantasy I've ever read. So I highly recommend. Sarah J. Maas wrote, her blurb is, a brilliant debut full of everything I love, a sparkling and fully realized heroine, an intricate and deadly system of magic, and a searing romance that kept me reading long into the night. Serpent and Dove is an absolute gem of a book. She just did my job for me. I agree with Sarah. So yeah, this is really excellent. This is a 4.75 because there wasn't enough plot, but the romance was a 5-star romance in this. Oh, okay. The next book we have is Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. Like, I hate to say Olivia Blake isn't for everyone, but she should be. So basically, I should warn you, this book has a lot of run-on sentences. That's Olivia Blake's writing style. So that's something you gotta adjust to while reading this book. So I'll tell you a bit of what it's about. When there's a well, there's a war. Thayer Wren, the brilliant CEO of Ren Fair Magitech and so-called father of modern technology, is dead. Any one of his 3 telepathic and electrokinetically gifted children would be a plausible inheritor to the Ren Fair throne. Or at least, so they like to think. So I won't tell you too much, but we have 3 main characters on the front. They come together after their father dies. They figure out who's going to take over his company. And they just come to terms with like the issues that they've been having between the siblings. And they come to terms with what they want their lives to look like now, following their father's passing. This book did take me 2 months to read. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's dense, but it's not. But I think I just kind of blame it on the wrong sentences. And just how she writes takes a lot of brain power. Like, this isn't hard to understand, but her writing style just definitely takes some adjusting. And the books I read after this were so easy compared to, like, this isn't a difficult book, but her writing style is a bit takes you a while to get used to. But yeah, I'm excited to read. This is my first book by her, so I'm excited to read the rest of her books, and I think I'll really love the rest of her books. So super happy about that. The next book is Catabasis. It has a bookmark in it because my boyfriend's reading it. But here's the edges for you to see. This is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. And now I'm gonna talk to you haters first. Like, anyone who is saying, like, R.F. Kuang is showing off her intelligence in this book, like, would you say that to a male author? No. Like, that is ridiculous. People are hating on this because R.F. Kuang is too intelligent. Like, what? What in the sexism? So, as far as I'm concerned, all the critique on this book is sexist. That's my opinion. But basically, let us, Olivia Blake blurbed it. This is a book of ideas, and as such, Kuang's creativity shines. Her vehicle for a story, a prose that's smooth as butter. Catabasis is formidable, timeless work. Catabasis is a formidable, timeless work, destined to be a modern classic. So the inside says, Alice Law has only ever had one goal, to become one of the brightest minds in the field of magic. She sacrificed everything to make it a reality, her pride, her health, her love life, and most definitely her sanity. All to work with Professor Jacob Grimes at Cambridge, the greatest magician in the world. That is, until he dies in a magical accident that could possibly be her fault. This book is pure genius. It explores Cambridge and all the issues of that institution and just like academia as a whole, but in a different realm, in the realm of hell. So it's a simultaneous book. We have fantasy and then we have critique on academia at the same time. It's so in-depth with criticizing Cambridge and the world of academia, how it's sexist, racist, overworks students to the point where they're not eating, they're not sleeping, and women are just, in vulnerable positions and being taken advantage of by men. And there's just so many issues that she covers. But she transported me to hell while reading this. And every time I pick this book, I'm like, oh, I want to be transported back, which is kind of crazy. But that's what I was thinking. So I absolutely love this. This is just genius. And yes, it does have a lot of discussions of the field of logic and just reasoning and lots of, high concepts. But you can look things up. Like, that's what the internet is for. We can be challenged. We can learn about a field that we don't know that much about. And I just think people just need to open their minds to just Googling concepts they don't understand. But as for someone who's not an expert in the field of logic, I really enjoyed it. And I think it's genius and I recommend it. So yeah, don't be intimidated. Just don't be. And there's plenty of humor to get you by. So I love the humor. So the last book I'm going to talk about today is Anathema. Another, I feel like these are like I don't know. Like, my favorite authors are probably Kari Lake, Oliver Blake, Mark Kwong, Shelby McKeown, and Cece McKeown. I think these are like my top authors of the year. So heavy. Okay. I'm very excited to continue on and read the rest of Kari Lake's books because this is the very first book I'm reading by her. And this book is about Mavis and her adventure following her sister, who is thrown into the Eating Woods, and she kind of hops in there to find her. In these woods, people go in and they don't come out, basically. And we also have a different plot line that ends up weaving together with Mavis. We have Zavander, who is on the hunt for these magical, I think they're magical stones, kind of like in Marvel, that will give him abilities to get rid of this curse that he has. And so the characters we don't meet until like 50%. They don't meet until 50% of the way through the book. So it's very slow burn. But I was still interested even though the main characters weren't together. So that is a good sign. Absolutely love the writing. This has a bit of horror. Again, I can't really read horror, so this was okay for those of you who also like cannot stomach horror. So yeah, very gothic. So yeah, check the trigger warnings. There's violence, there's assault, there is necromancy, necrophilia. So yeah, it is a bit dark. So check your trigger warnings if you're looking into getting into dark books and dark romance. It's like a gothic romance. It's not quite a dark romance, but this is a good like starting point. But absolutely love this. Absolutely love the writing. I'm excited to read Eldridge and Nocticadia next. So yeah, this is definitely not for everyone, as I say with all these books. So here, I don't feel like lifting all of them, but here are some of the best books of the year for me. So yeah, I'm thankful for these books, but I did read a lot of bad books this year, as you've seen in my worst books of the year video. So I hope next year I will just be, I DNF a lot though, guys, but I hope next year I'll just be more careful with what I pick up and like stick to these guys. So yeah, what were your Like write like, I don't know, 2 or 3 of your favorite books of the year. And make me some suggestions based on these books. You can leave them in the comments. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.